Hey there, deep divers. Ready to dive into something that's probably on everyone's mind pretty much all the time.
Oh, yeah? You mean the whole money thing?
Yeah, yeah. Not just like tips and tricks, though. I'm talking about really looking at how money connects to actually living a fulfilling life.
Right, right. It is fascinating how many of us are kind of just following this outdated financial roadmap, and it's leading to some scary stuff.
Yeah, like what kinds of scary stuff?
I mean, you see rising bankruptcies, people are just buried in debt, and they end up sacrificing time with their loved ones just to chase another paycheck.
Oof, it's like we're stuck on this hamster wheel of just more, 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 but we're not actually getting anywhere meaningful.
Exactly. And that's where things get really interesting with Your Money or Your Life by Joe Dominguez and Vicky Robin.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that one. What does it say about all of this?
It challenges that outdated thinking and gives you a totally fresh perspective on what it means to be like truly financially well.
Okay, I'm intrigued. So where do we even begin to break free from this cycle?
Well, one of the core ideas in Your Money or Your Life is this money equals life energy.
Hold on, I get that we work for money, but break that down for me. How is money literally life energy?
Think about it. Every dollar you earn represents time and skills and energy that you've traded. It's not just your job, it's the commute, the overtime, even the stress eating after a long day. All of that is life energy exchanged for money.
Whoa, I never thought of it like that. It makes you really reevaluate those impulse buys, huh?
Absolutely. That's why tracking your spending is so important. It's not about being restrictive. It's about awareness. When you actually see where your money goes and how much life energy you're trading for each thing you buy, you start making better choices.
It reminds me of that story in the book about the doctor who realized he was addicted to buying shoes just by tracking his spending.
Yeah, he had no idea how much he was spending until he started writing it all down.
That's wild. So we're trading our precious life energy for money, often without even realizing it. Where do we go from here? How do we break free?
One powerful concept is the fulfillment curve. It's like a graph. As your spending increases, so does your satisfaction up to a point. Then it plateaus, even declines. You have more stuff, but it's not making you happier.
So the key is to find that sweet spot on the curve where you have enough without going overboard.
Exactly. And that point of enough is different for everyone. It's based on your values, your priorities. What you think a fulfilling life is not what society tells you.
Okay, so how do we figure out our own enough? Is there some magic formula?
Not a magic formula, but there are three key questions to ask before you buy anything.
Okay, hit me with those questions.
The first one is, does this thing actually bring me lasting fulfillment, or is it just a quick hit of pleasure? Second, is it aligned with my values and what I want my life to be about?
Oh, so walking the walk and not just talking the talk. It's got to match up with what they actually care about.
Exactly. And the third question, would I still spend money on this if I didn't have to work? That one really makes you think.
Yeah, because let's be real, a lot of our spending is tied to the lifestyle we feel like we have to keep up because of our jobs.
Absolutely. By asking those questions, you shift from mindless consumption to conscious value-driven spending.
Got it. We're ditching the old more is better mentality and we're focusing on finding our own enough. But how do we make this actually happen? How do we achieve this new kind of financial independence?
We need to redefine what financial independence even means. It's not about being super rich. It's about having enough and then some.
I love that. It makes it feel so much more achievable.
Right. It's about having the freedom to live a life aligned with your values and purpose. And guess what? There's a simple visual tool that can help you keep track of your progress.
Ooh, a visual. I love visuals. What is it?
It's called the wall chart.
Okay, tell me more.
It's basically a graph where you plot your income and expenses over time. You can actually see how your spending changes, and you watch your savings grow, which is super motivating. It's like a roadmap to financial independence.
Okay, I'm starting to get the picture. We're redefining FI, we're using our trusty wall chart, and we're spending our lot energy with intention. But there's still this big question of,
You mean, how do we get to the point where working is optional?
you read my mind. Let's explore that in part 2 of this deep dive. All right, so let's talk about that magical moment, reaching the point where work becomes optional.
Yeah, Your Money or Your Life calls that the crossover point, you know?
The crossover point, what is that exactly?
It's where your investment income covers all of your living expenses.
Oh, wow. So you don't have to work anymore.
Right, that 9 to 5 grind becomes a choice, not a necessity.
Okay, that sounds amazing. But how do we actually get there? Is it just saving every penny we earn?
Saving is definitely crucial, but it's also about how you invest those savings, to create like a steady income stream.
So it's like making your money work for you.
Exactly. So where do we put all this hard-earned cash? Risky stock market stuff? Or something safer?
Right? What are we talking about here?
Your Money or Your Life is all about safety and liquidity.
Okay. What does that mean in plain English?
So, like U.S. Treasury bonds, for example, those are backed by the government, and they just provide a steady stream of income.
Treasury bonds, they sound kind of official and maybe a little boring.
They might not be flashy, but that's kind of the point, It's slow and steady growth, and, your money is safe. It's working for you quietly in the background.
Oh, I see. So it's like building a solid foundation instead of gambling on those get-rich-quick schemes.
Exactly. And as you progress, you can look at other options like index funds or even real estate, depending on how much risk you're comfortable with and your goals, of course.
Got it. So we're tracking spending, saving like crazy, investing wisely. Are we missing anything to hit that crossover point?
There's one more big piece, frugality.
Oh, no. Does that mean I have to live like a hermit?
No, not at all. It's about getting the most joy out of having less stuff, being mindful about what you buy and focusing on experiences instead of just buying a bunch of things.
I am all about being efficient, so that definitely clicks with me. What are some ways to actually do that, like some practical tips?
This might sound crazy, but negotiate discounts. Don't be afraid to ask for a lower price on anything.
Wait, you mean I can haggle at the grocery store?
You'd be surprised how often it works.
Wow. Okay, I'll have to try that. What else?
Cooking at home is another big one. Plus, it's fun and you learn a new skill. And then there's repairing things instead of just tossing them out and buying new ones. You can usually find a tutorial online.
Oh yeah, YouTube has totally saved me on so many trips to the repair shop.
See? And don't forget about sharing things with friends like borrowing tools, swapping clothes, even sharing childcare. You can save a ton of money and it builds community.
It really does take a village. Okay, so we're in control of our spending, we're saving, we're embracing frugality, we're on the path to the crossover point. But like, what does life actually look like once we get there? What are people doing with all this newfound freedom?
Okay, so there's this amazing story in Your Money or Your Life about a woman named Penny Unuba.
Penny Unuba, what did she do?
She was working a normal 9 to 5 job, but she just felt stuck,
I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah, totally. So she followed these principles, reached her crossover point, quit her job, and then she started living life on her own terms.
Amazing. What was she doing?
Spending time in nature, volunteering, pursuing her passions, the thing that she actually cared about.
Wow, that freedom to just do what you love? That's incredible. Was she like the only one?
Nope, not at all. There are so many stories of people who have reached FI and they're using their time and energy to actually make a difference in the world.
It's like it's not about escaping the rat race. It's about using that freedom to do something meaningful, like
It's
something that really matters.
exactly. It's about making your life match up with your values. That's where the magic is.
All right, I am so inspired right now. So we have this roadmap to the crossover point. We've got all these awesome stories about people living their best lives. Is there anything else we need to know about financial independence?
There's one more cool concept, disintermediation. Disintermediation, basically it makes cutting out the middleman.
Oh, I like the sound of that. So we're not relying on those banks and brokers to take care of our money anymore.
Well, you still need them, but you can learn to manage your investments yourself, which can save you money on fees. And it gives you way more control over your financial future.
Right, so like with those treasury bonds, we can buy them directly through the government.
Exactly.
So I could be like my own financial guru.
You totally can, and there are tons of resources out there to help you learn how.
This is really making sense. But let's be real. Reaching FI is probably not always easy. What are some of the challenges that people might run into?
I think one of the biggest ones is just overcoming those old beliefs about money and work. We're kind of taught that we need to work long hours, buy lots of stuff, and just keep striving for more.
Yeah, like we're programmed to be good little consumers, always wanting more and more.
Right. And then there's social pressure too. Like your family and friends might not get why you're choosing to live more frugally.
Oh yeah, I can totally see that happen. It's like, why aren't you coming to that fancy dinner with us?
Yeah, exactly. It takes patience and being open with them to help them understand why you're doing things differently.
So it's about being like a financial rebel, but also being kind and understanding to the people in our lives.
You got it. And remember, staying motivated over the long haul is key. Reaching FI is a marathon, not a sprint. It takes consistent effort and being okay with delaying gratification.
It's so tempting to just splurge on that vacation or a new gadget, but having that clear vision really helps. And having a support system too, right?
Definitely surround yourself with people who get it, who are on the same page as you. They can really give you that extra boost when you need it.
This has been so eye-opening, but before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I'm curious about something we haven't touched on yet.
You mean the ethical side of the whole FI movement? Like, what happens if everyone starts doing this?
Yeah, exactly. Like, would society just fall apart without people working?
That's a great question, and that's exactly what we're going to dive into in part 3 of our deep dive.
All right, so we've talked about like the personal side of reaching financial independence, but what about the bigger picture? Like what happens if everybody starts doing this?
Yeah, that's a question that comes up a lot. People worry that society would just collapse if everyone reached FI.
Yeah, would we all just quit our jobs and like lounge around all day?
Haha, that's a funny image. But it's actually based on a misunderstanding of what FI is really all about.
Oh, how so?
It's not about becoming passive or just withdrawing from society. It's about having the freedom to choose how you want to spend your time and energy.
Okay, so it's not about like everyone quitting their jobs and just chilling out.
Not at all. Actually, a lot of people who reach FI end up working even more.
Really? I thought the whole point was to not work.
Right, but the key difference is that they're working on things they're passionate about, you
Right.
know?
Oh, so it's not just any work. It's work that actually feels meaningful.
Exactly. They might start businesses, volunteer for causes they care about, or pursue creative projects. It's all about alignment.
So we're talking about shifting from work for survival to like work for fulfillment.
That's a great way to put it. Just imagine a world where everyone was doing work that they actually loved, that matched their values. Think about all the creativity and innovation that would come out of that.
Okay, I'm starting to see the potential here. But there's still that question of like those essential jobs that nobody really wants to do, you know?
Ah, you mean like collecting garbage? Who's going to do that if everyone's off following their dreams?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a really interesting point. So think about this. If we change how we think about work, you know, if we detach it from needing money to survive, those essential jobs might actually become more appealing.
Wait, are you saying that garbage collecting could be like the hot new career path?
Ha ha ha, maybe not hot, but definitely more attractive. If people weren't stuck in jobs they hate just to pay their bills, they might be more open to those essential roles.
That makes sense. And I guess there's also that whole thing about frugality and being mindful about what you buy. Less stuff means less garbage to collect in the first place.
Exactly. It all ties together. So instead of everyone becoming artists or entrepreneurs, would have a more balanced system where all kinds of work are actually valued.
That sounds pretty ideal, but I mean, reaching this kind of mass financial independence probably won't happen overnight, right?
You're right about that. It's going to take time to change people's mindsets. You know, we've been conditioned to think about money and work in a certain way for so long.
It's like breaking free from those old patterns of thinking.
Yeah, but even small steps can make a big difference.
So it's about planting those seeds of awareness and showing people that there's another way.
Exactly. As more and more people prioritize fulfillment over just accumulating more stuff, it can really start to shift things in society.
Whoa, we've gone from like personal finance to a potential societal transformation. This is blowing my mind. So as we wrap up this deep dive into your money or your life, what's the one big thing you want our listeners to take away from all of this?
Remember, this money is just a tool. It's energy that you can use to create the life you want. So don't let it control you. You control it.
So it's about being the boss of your money, not the other way around.
Exactly. Figure out what matters to you, then align your spending with those values, invest wisely, embrace frugality, and define what success and fulfillment mean to you, not anyone else.
That's some powerful advice right there. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on the show and sharing all these amazing insights. Remember, folks, financial independence isn't just a dream. It's totally within your reach.
And who knows, maybe by taking control of our money and living more intentionally, we can actually create a world where everyone can experience real abundance and fulfillment.
Now, that's a future worth working towards. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. We'll catch you next time for another exploration of, well, whatever you're curious about.